Hi, this is Jon Oltsik from ESG, and I'm here with my colleague, John Grady. John, welcome.
Thanks, John.
And we're here to talk about some new research that you have around the Elastic Cloud Gateway concept. And there's been a lot of buzz in the market about this concept, our ECG concept, and Gartner's SASE. And I'm wondering, what did you determine in terms of the demand side interest in based on your findings?
Yeah, I mean that's why we did this study was I think there was a need in the market to understand some of, really the user perspective on this and what they're looking for. And so ton of interest. 68% of organizations say they're either using or very likely to use ECG solutions. And many more are interested, but say they have to learn more, which is to be expected since this concept's only, 8 or 10 months old. So very few are saying this isn't something we're interested in. And I think what's more important is kind of the first generation of these solutions was very targeted at the remote or the branch office use case and securing direct to internet. Three-quarters of our respondents said this is going to be across the enterprise. So, the whole remote work use case with the impact from COVID has just made this that much more relevant to have that consistent enforcement across the enterprise.
That's a pretty decent trend. But I'm concerned because there's still a lot of appliances out there, and you're really talking about moving network security to the cloud. So, what's the plan for this transition?
Yeah, so especially at the edge or at the perimeter, network security has still been appliance oriented, but we do seem to be at a tipping point for that. The percentage of organizations that say 40% or more of their edge network security controls are going to be cloud delivered will double over the next 2 years. So this is really something that's going to accelerate quickly. I think ECG is a key driver of this, but organizations are really ready to change the way that they think about their network security architecture.
Okay, so based on that, I know one of the differences that you talk about between our concept ECG and Gartner's SASE is the inclusion of network services. So tell me about what you found there.
Organizations at a high level are interested in procuring SD-WAN and security functionality from a single vendor. What type of vendor? There's some disagreement on. So essentially the same amount are looking at a network vendor delivering security versus a security vendor delivering network functionality. So there's a bit of a disagreement there. And the layer beyond that is while there's anticipated security benefits, a lot of the reasoning is just general vendor consolidation. So having a more strategic relationship with the supplier, having a single point of contact for problem resolution, efficiency relative to vendor management and procurement. So when we look at kind of the functionality within ECG and where SD-WAN and as kind of a proxy for networking sits, it's a little further down the list. So I think I continue to think this is a longer tail that, integration is important, but, that partnership route where networking vendors are working with security vendors and delivering kind of pre-integrated solutions is going to be the predominant route to market for the short to moderate term.
Sure, and you're fighting history there. I mean, those two groups have always cooperated, but they had their own budgets, they had their own goals and objectives. So there's a lot to uncover.
Absolutely, and we still see that as kind of a point of contention or reason that the security team and the network team aren't always kind of working as closely together as they could be. So there's some organizational dynamics that need to be overcome before I think we see a real acceleration there.
Yeah, I've found that too in my research. So let me ask you this then. What was the most surprising thing that you found in your research?
So, from the start, we've had data security as a key part of this. And I think, in listening to the market and some of the positioning around SASE, that seems to be somewhat secondary. And I think when we asked about the challenges relative to securing user access to corporate apps and resources, ensuring consistent data security was the top challenge. And again, we looked at kind of the functionality. DLP was near the top. So from a user perspective, there's an understanding that if we accept that the perimeter is changing and you want to say something like identity is a new perimeter, you need that context from a data perspective. What's being accessed? How sensitive is it? To really inform the policy context.
Yeah, that's data security has always been a challenge. And in these this times of the pandemic, it's about connectivity and then security first, and then things like data security afterward.
Absolutely.
Yeah, well, this is great stuff. And like I say, it's very timely because of what we're dealing with COVID-19. So, Jon, thanks for taking the time, and we'll look forward to more of this research.
Thanks, John.